It is such a beautiful day. I'm glad that you're here to learn, and today I get to read to you the story Tops and Bottoms. Now, this story used to be a folk tale, so that means that it's a story that's been told for many years, for a long time. And so this story was retold by the author and illustrator. You're going to love the pictures, Janet Stevens. Before I read to you this story, I just wanted to talk to you about gathering. Now, what does gathering mean to you? It can mean many things. People gathering together. It can mean collecting, like the flowers behind me. I love going out to my garden and collecting all the flowers that just bloomed and bringing them inside to a vase. When I go hiking, I love collecting rocks that look like hearts. Now, Janet Stevens tells this story about a bear and a rabbit. And if you can tell by the picture on the cover, the rabbit's gathering lots of crops. So let's go ahead and begin. Tops and Bottoms by Janet Stevens. Look at all of that food that was collected from the garden. Tops and bottoms. I like how the author decided to write in this style. The first page is actually at the top and the next page is at the bottom. Gives her lots of room to do the awesome illustrations. Tops and bottoms. Once upon a time, there lived a very lazy bear who had lots of money and lots of land. His father had been a hard worker and a smart business bear, and he had given all of his wealth to his son. But all Bear wanted to do was sleep. Not far down the road lived a hare. Although Hare was clever, he sometimes got into trouble. That reminds me of the story of Peter Rabbit and the author Beatrix Potter. Wow, she made Peter get into lots of trouble in Mr. McGregor's garden. He had once owned land too, but now he had nothing. He had lost a risky bet with a tortoise and had sold all of his land to Bear to pay off the debt. Hare and his family were in very bad shape. That means not that they didn't have the muscles or the strong heart. In bad shape means that they were hardly able to survive. The children are so hungry, Father Hare. We must think of something, Mrs. Hare cried one day. So Hare and Mrs. Hare put their heads together and cooked up a plan. The next day, Hare hopped down the road to Bear's house. Bear, of course, was asleep. Hello, Bear. Wake up. It's your neighbor, Hare, and I have an idea. Bear opened one eye and grunted. We can be business partners, Hare said. All we need is this field right here in front of your house. I'll do the hard work of planting and harvesting, and we can split the profit right down the middle. Yes, Sir Bear, we're in this together. I'll work and you sleep. Now to me that doesn't seem very fair. Does it seem fair to you? Being fair means that something is equal from both people. Now, if Hare is doing all of the work, it is Bear's land. So what do you think? In your opinion, what are your thoughts? Is that fair? Is that a deal that you would take? Huh? Said Bear. So, what will it be, Bear? Asked Hare. The top half or the bottom half? It's up to you. Tops or bottoms. Just like the title of the book. Let's see, Bear said with a yawn. I'll take the top half, Hare. Right? Tops. Hare smiled. It's a done deal, Bear. So at the beginning, think of them as friends. Which friend would you want? Would you want Bear, who's always sleepy, doesn't show that he really cares, talks not so much, but seems kind, gentle? And what about Hare? He's very energetic, talks a lot, is willing to do the hard work, but he seems kind of like he always wants something, huh? Rabbits can be tricky. So Bear went back to sleep, and Hare and his family went to work. Hare planted, Mrs. Hare watered, and everyone weeded. Bear slept as the crops grew. When it was time for the harvest, Hare called out, "Wake up, Bear. You get the tops and I get the bottoms." Hare and his family dug up the carrots, the radishes, and the beets. Hare plucked all of the tops, tossed them into a pile for Bear. So here's all the tops. Does that look like the pile that you would want? And he put the bottoms aside in a pile for himself and his family. So fair, right? 2 piles. But are the 2 piles really the same? Look at how Bear's face changes. Bear stared at his pile. "But Hare, all of the best parts are in your half." "You chose the tops, Bear," Hare said. "Now, Hare, you've tricked me. You plant this field again, and this season, I want the bottoms." Hare agreed. "It's a done deal, Bear." So Hare was tricky. He was a tricky rabbit, but the deal was a deal. The bear wants Hare to do a new deal that's a little bit more fair. What do you think will happen next? Remember, use what you know from the characters, what's happened so far, and make a prediction. Do you think Hare will treat Bear fairly? Yes or no? Do you think Hare will make Bear happy? And finally, they'll have the same fair deal? Let's see. So Bear went back to sleep, and Hare and his family went to work. They planted, watered, and weeded. Things didn't change much. Bear's still very lazy and asleep. Bear slept as the crops grew. And when it was time for the harvest, Hare called out, "Wake up, Bear! You get the bottom and I get the tops." Now, if they're growing the carrots again, Bear would get carrots, right? Because carrots grow at the bottom of a field, and the top was just kind of the weeds and the leaves. So this time, what do you think is going to be grown? What's Bear going to get in the bottom of the crop field? Hare and his family gathered up the lettuce and the broccoli and the celery. Those crops grow at the top. Hare pulled off the bottoms for Bear and put the crops from the top in his own pile. Bear's one-eyed open doesn't look happy. Bear looked at his pile and scowled. "Hare, you have cheated me again." "But Bear," Hare said, "you wanted the bottoms this time." Bear growled. "You plant this field again, Hare. You tricked me twice, and you owe me 1 season of both the tops and the bottoms now." "You're right, poor old Bear," sighed Hare. "It's only fair that you get both tops and bottoms this time." "It's a done deal, Bear." What is Bear going to get the next time that crops are gathered? And remember, we talked about how Miss Lafever, I like to gather my heart collection of rocks, flowers from the garden. This gathering is called a harvest. When you gather all the crops when they're ripe and ready, that's called a harvest. So here's the next harvest. They're getting ready for the next harvest. So Bear went back to sleep, and Hare and his family went to work. They planted, watered, and weeded, and then watered and weeded some more. Bear slept as the crops grew. And when it was time for the harvest, Hare called out, "Wake up, Bear. This time you get the tops and the bottoms." Now, Bear doesn't look happy, does he? What happens? Corn is harvested. What else? Here's a pile. These just seem like leaves and roots. The only thing I see is corn. Who is going to get that pile? There, in front of Bear's house, lay a high field of corn. Hare and his family yanked up every corn stalk, and Hare tugged off the roots at the bottom and the tassels at the top and put them in a pile for Bear. Then he carefully collected the ears of corn in the middle and placed them in his own pile. Bear rubbed his eyes and watched. "See, Bear, you get the tops and the bottoms. I get the middles. Yes, sir, Bear. It's a done deal." By now, Bear was wide awake. "That's it, Hare," he hollered. "From now on, I'll plant my own crops and take the tops, bottoms, and the middles." Hare and his family scooped up the corn and hopped down the road toward home. Look at how these characters feel now. Is Bear asleep and tired and lazy, or have things changed? He's up and angry and is going to work hard because he probably realized that being asleep and being lazy wasn't worth it. He got tricked and he missed out on all these crops that could have been his. While Hare knew, he kind of took advantage of Bear and knew Bear was going to act that way. I predicted that. So Bear starts to work. I can't believe he didn't do that before. Can you? He was surprised every time the rabbit tricked him. So I wonder why he didn't kind of get a clue earlier. Bear never again slept through a season of planting and harvesting. Hare brought back his land with a profit from the crops, and he and Mrs. Hare opened a vegetable stand. And although Hare and Bear learned to live happily as neighbors, they never became business partners again. What do you think about this story? The characters. I love the story that Janet Stevens retold about being a hard worker. And Hare, his Bear wasn't so much of a hard worker, so he learned his lesson. Hare worked really hard and he got the help by his family. But in your opinion, what do you think? Was it fair the way that Hare and his family treated Bear? They tricked him through 3 harvests, 3 rounds of crops. What do you think? Was that fair? I'm glad that the ending turned out to be a happy ending, and I know that these characters will have lots of crops. So that is the end of the story. I always usually take off the sleeve of the books to protect them for next time I read. That's the end of the story, Tops and Bottoms, and I hope you enjoyed it.